Well, 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 look where we are. We're finally ready to start drawing our dream house. So we have our dice tutorial done. This is the part where we went over basic skills. Then we got into our wall section. We drew a wall section. We drew a door frame. We drew a window frame. Now we're going to open this wall section, and we're going to use this wall section as the foundation, or this file as a foundation for our dream house. We want to leave this wall section as it is, but I want to make a copy of this. So I'm going to go to Save As, File Save As. Open up the SketchUp folder. Make sure we're inside DDP. All that's right up here, Project SketchUp DDP. And we're going to save this as Dream House V1. It's always a good idea to save multiple versions of your dream house. That way, if something ever does go bad, you can recover from a different version, from a previously saved version. This is just good practice, general practice for any file or anything you're going to be working on for a long time. So you don't lose, like, I don't know, 20 hours of work if you are working on something. So we're going to say this is Dream House version, or V1. Save here. Now, as soon as I hit save, it'll bring me right back here. But you'll notice now, instead of working on the wall section file, I'm working on the Dream House version 1. So the first thing I want to do is go through, and I do not need any of these measurements here on this drawing. Remember, if we ever have to refer back, we can always go back to our templates for our wall sections. So I'm just going through and clicking and deleting, and I want to leave this all clean and nicey. So that way, when we go to actually put this stuff in, we don't even need to see the measurements. So there we are. Everything looks pretty darn good. All our wall sections are there. Our dino ukulele buddies back there as well. Now, it's time to get the floor plan into this drawing space. So what I want to do is go to your Google Classroom. And we're going to go all the way back to our Dream House Research. Go ahead and select that. Oops. For me, it's actually going to be slightly different. I'm going to have to edit the assignment. But you folks, I want you to open that assignment. Okay? Actually, let's just look at good old Abigail Rockcastles. And I'm not going to do her house, but what I am going to do is use the demo house to draw. So you folks, remember when we did our research, you found the URL for your house. This is the example one. And then you should have pasted your floor plan in here as well. All right. I'm going to go with the example URL. Probably makes sense since this is an example. We're going to get back to this URL here. And you'll notice when I scroll down, ta-da, here's our picture. I'm going to save image as, and I'm going to save this in my pictures. And we're going to save this as 1998 floor plan 1. Beautiful. Sounds good to me. So there it is right there. So now I have my floor plan image, which is all well and good. But how do we get it into SketchUp? A lot easier than you might imagine. So I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go to Import from my device. Okay, and I can drag and drop this. Oh, that's not going to work. Let's do the Show in Folder location. There it is. And now I can drag and drop this. Miska. Here's what I want to do then. I'm just going to go to my device. This is probably the easiest way. Pictures. If you have a problem finding it, you can sort by date. Okay, and we notice for our images, after we get past the folder section, or for our files, whoop, there it is. And then I can click Open. It's going to ask you if this is an image or if this is a material. This is definitely an image. And now I'm going to place this. I want to be looking down at the ground to make sure that this places itself in the correct orientation, right? Like it's on the floor. And I'm going to start spreading this thing out. Now there's no way, I mean there might be a way, but very unlikely that I get this scaled exactly to the proper size, which is fine because I'm going to use some of the measurements on this floor plan to ensure that I'm at the right size. But just by judging off the wall sections and our ukulele friend, I'm going to say that that's probably pretty darn close. So if that's pretty close, that's good, but I want to be almost exact if I can do that, which would be great. So to do that, I'm going to draw a rectangle to represent the size of one of these rooms. Now, which rectangle to draw? Well, it should probably be a rectangle without a bunch, or a room without a bunch of features in it. So if we have a room like this bedroom, right, and I'm looking at this, when it says 11 feet by 11 foot 6, is that counting this little space, or is it measuring from here? So to avoid any confusion like that, what we're going to look for is a nice square room. The squarest room you can possibly find, the biggest measurement. So in this drawing, it's going to be this primary bedroom right here. So now that I've identified what I'm going to use as a reference point to scale, it's as simple as drawing a rectangle with those measurements. I'll press R for rectangle, up arrow key to lock into my blue axis. I'm going to click and release, and I'm going to start pulling this out. Do not match your rectangle to the size of the room right now. Remember, we're going to scale the floor plan to match the size of the room that I'm drawing. Okay? I know it might sound a little funny right now. Pay attention. Give it a sec. It'll make sense in 1 minute. So the first thing I'm doing is drawing the actual correct size for this primary bedroom. Remember, it can be any room that you choose, but just try to make sure it's a square and it's really easy to identify the boundary lines. So we're typing these measurements. I'm going to type in 14. You'll notice in the bottom corner here, that's my measurement. 14 feet. Feet is an apostrophe. It's not a quotation. A quote is 2 lines and apostrophe is 1. So 14 feet, comma, 16 feet, enter. There it is. So that's how big that bedroom should be. I can't see the bedroom. So in order to see the bedroom, I'm going to select the face. I'm just going to click once. Do not double click. And I'll press delete. So, man, that's pretty close. I almost have it correct. I don't want to scale this square right here because I know that that's the actual correct size. I drew that square there so I can scale up the floor plan to make sure that my floor plan is lined up correctly. So to scale, hopefully you remember from the wall sections and from your dice to scale, we press S, and I'm going to grab this corner and I'm going to start pulling it out. And what I'm looking to see is that the same width and the same depth as that rectangle that I drew? I think that that's pretty close. All right. So once I think I got it pretty close, I'll just click again, and then we can press escape. And then I'm going to press M for move. And I'm going to go right, zoom in right on this corner here. And I'm going to snap it right to there. Oh my gosh, that's pretty gosh darn close. What you'll notice from my drawing is I have part of the line on the outside of the room, and I have part of the line on the inside of the room. When room measurements are made, it's from inside wall to inside wall. So actually, my floor plan's still a little bit too small. I need my floor plan to grow just ever so slightly, so that way this line and this line are on the inside of the room. So I'm going to go back to my floor plan. I'm going to press S for scale, click and release. I'm just going to bring it out just a touch, just like that. I think it moved a little bit bigger. Ah, yeah, it did. The scale's up to 1.01 now. So let's see if this works. I clicked. I think that's pretty good. Let's spacebar to exit my scaling command. M for move. I'm zooming in on the corner of the room. I'll click and release, and now I'm moving it to there. Look at that. Look at them. Look at these. Look at those. That's pretty gosh darn close. I'm not sure if I could get much better. I'm going to try, though. Let's do one more. I'm going to scale this down. But instead of just guessing at it now, I knew the one was a little bit small. I'm going to type in 1.005. Let's see what that does. You guys don't have to get as specific, but I figure since I'm the teacher and I'm demoing, it's probably a good idea. All right, so there we are. That's pretty awesome right there. I like the way that looks. So this is scaled properly. So now I can delete. I'm using my click, hold, and pull to the right method to select, and then I can delete that. All right, so that's how we're going to scale your room. And let's go back and go over all the steps one more time. So the first thing is you got to find your dream house, and you're going to have to save this image, and then you're going to go to here, File, and then you're going to import this image from your device. Once it's imported, all right, once it's imported here, we're going to start to, we're going to draw, we're going to find a room that's we know is a nice square and doesn't have any additional features. In this case, it was the primary bedroom. And I'm going to draw a rectangle at these measurements. Remember, our feet, to indicate feet, has an apostrophe. For inches, it would be a quotation. So I enter a rectangle that's 14 by 14. Whoops, can't see the room. So then what do? We delete out that surface, so we're still left with these lines. And then all you're going to do is scale your floor plan, not the rectangle you drew, your floor plan, so that the rectangle you did draw fits as closely as possible to the inside of that room. That way we know, or we can assume, that all the other measurements will be correct as well. Once that happens, we can delete the room by using our click, hold, and pull to the right method for delete. Okay? Once that's done, we go ahead and hit save. And boom, our dream house is saving right now. Once you have this scaled correctly, it's super important that this gets done correctly. It's going to be the foundation for all the other drawing that we do for your dream house. So once this is done correctly, come on back and we'll talk about how to get the walls added on. See you then.